Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. You know, if you could go back and start over, what would it look like?
Yeah. So first of all, I coached my first high school JV team when I was a varsity senior in high school. There was no JV coach, and a teacher offered to be that they didn't know anything about basketball, but they said there'd be the teacher presence if I would be willing to be the head coach of the JV team. So that was my introduction into coaching, and then I started college coaching at an early age as well, and have coached some now 30 years, close to 30 years. If I could do it all over again, here's the one thing that I would do, that more than anything else, I would go learn from others. I would find ways to go sit under experienced, seasoned coaches. Wouldn't even have to be within basketball, because during the basketball season it could be really difficult to see other coaches. So if our season finished in early March, who can I go see in April, May, June? Is there a soccer coach? Is there whatever that sport may be that I can go just learn from and sit under? I spend years just trying to figure it out on my own. And even going to coaching clinics and doing other things like that were really helpful. But that was all part of me figuring it out, as opposed to going and watching a master teacher coach a team. And I think modeling is just one of the best ways that we learn, even beyond just hearing somebody say something or reading something, seeing somebody actually do it. I think that's one of the reasons so many coaches benefit when they go to a PGC course. They actually see the director doing it, and then they realize, I can do that. Oh, I could put that into practice. That's how he framed it. That's really good framing. I've never thought about framing it that way. Oh, wow, look at how he focused on those teaching points and made that so simple. Look at the progress those players made. Wow, look how 120 players came together like they're a single team within a single day. How did he do that? Let me talk with him about it. I think if I could do coaching again, instead of me spending 10 years trying to, or the better part of probably 3 decades, trying to figure those things out, sitting under master teachers, even if it's not in the same sport, that's the number one thing that I would do differently. And to this day, if I had, so I just finished, my kids are all done, and through the pandemic, the teams that I was coaching, I wrapped up with my AU teams as my kids have gone off to college. Haven't decided if I'm going to pick up another team again, as I'm pretty locked with everything PGC related, locked and loaded. But if I do, before I do, to find my next level, I'll go spend a couple months somewhere, not necessarily moving away, but with someone, even if it's in a different sport, just shadowing and learning from them.
All right. So it's your 20-year-old self comes to you and says, who are 3 or 4 people that I should seek out to learn from, those master teachers? Who's on your list?
Well, so I'm going to give you 2 things. First of all, I don't think you have to go find a Coach K. I think you find somebody in your community, and you just ask around in your community, at your school, within your program, who's the best coach you know, regardless of any sport. Who's the best coach that you know from everything you've heard? Ask an athletic director, ask other coaches. I would ask 5 or 6 different coaches, who's the best coach you've seen or you've worked with? And then I would go see if I can attend some of their practices, go watch a few of their games, etc. So that's first and foremost the approach that I'd take. But if we zoom out and say wish list,
zoom out,
who could I go with? Would love to spend a season with Jay Wright. Love Dave Smart at Carleton University in Canada. They've won 16 of the last 19 national championships. Which is just unheard of and unparalleled. I played for him one summer. I learned more in one summer than I did in years. And but that was from a player's perspective. He's a master teacher has ridiculously high standards. I'd love to go spend a year learning from Dave Smart. Both Jay's, now retired. Dave is now no longer coaching his team. He's training coaches. But if I had a season and could do a do-over, it would be, hey, is there a way? Could I go be a grad assistant somehow with, somebody like Jay?
It would probably take a book or a notebook to really describe how someone wins 16 out of 17. But what are just a few things that you said ridiculously high standards? I mean, even that right there, how do you be a person that has those without alienating and pushing, some players away? Like, to me, there's something special there. What are some ways or how did he do that?
Yeah. I've listened to Dave teach quite a bit over the years, and in terms of teaching coaches, and his standards relentless. And when I say relentless, in Canadian University, they would routinely play each and every year Division I teams and beat Division I teams in the preseason, and then they run the gauntlet through the Canadian University world. And so I would watch them beating a team by 40 or 50 points. And there's 45 seconds left in the game. And Dave is on his bench players for not running something properly, or for not moving with hustle or precision, whatever it is. And there's 35 seconds left in the game. And do you know how tough it would be to be the other team's coach? You're down by 45 points, and the other coach is up 45 and still relentlessly attacking his players. And while I'm not in favor of relentlessly attacking your players, as you said, Dave has found a way to do that without crushing their confidence and without causing them to walk away from the program. They've stayed the course and they've become champions, and he does it year after year after year. And so I would be fascinated to see that. And he obviously understands human psychology because he pushes them to the brink and they play with unbelievable confidence. And that's a really difficult thing to do. And I don't even know how he's been able to do that. So I'd love to see it firsthand.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.